first 6 to 9 months, I can imagine, were terrifying because essentially you had a decent lump of cash that you then had to convert into basically verifiable
Sales.
Sales.
Yeah.
But what would happen if that wasn't done? I mean, how are you dealing with the pressure as an individual of right, we are working to this end and we know this end, this wall, we have no money left.
Yeah.
So we need to get to that wall and then we need to ascend and get down from the obstacle of we need loads more money to then create another wall for ourselves to reach. Because it's not, you can't plan infinitely into the future. You can't ever get complacent and comfortable with the sort of process that you're describing. So how did you, going from a corporate job, manage that pressure and actually keep your head switched on to be able to deal with that? Because that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah, and I'd be lying if I'd said I've totally mashed at this and I've got it all together. And I want to make that really, really clear. We definitely don't when it comes to managing stress. And it is really, really, it is terrifying. And I think when we both left our jobs and you start launching a brand on Instagram and you start doing this stuff, and there's that period where all your mates this is really cool what you're doing, and they might see loads of stuff going on, and we were kind of chatting about this earlier on. They might see it popping up and stuff. Running a startup is it's like that swan analogy, that duck analogy, right? Up top everything looks fine and under control, but underneath it's fucking furious. And that is exactly how I feel a lot of the time, because you might see things that look like they're going great, but there's a lot of problems going behind the scenes. That's the nature of a startup. I think it's a different kind of pressure you feel when you're working a corporate job. So when you're working at AB InBev and you're getting a salary and you've got targets that you want to hit, there's pressure for sure. When you get money from someone that person has worked really, really hard to earn, and they are choosing to give you that cash to hopefully make a return instead of doing something else with it, that's an entirely different kind of pressure. Because that's personal responsibility. And I would say we both really feel that with our shareholders, not just that we need to make sure that we deploy the capital in a really, really as sensible a manner as possible, but they've also charged us with getting them a really good investment. No one's really invested me to return a small amount. They've backed us to really go for it sensibly, but to to provide something. So you definitely feel that challenge. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, I guess the answer is you don't necessarily cope with the pressure, but you obviously do, because we've got there, but the pressure is still prevalent.
Yeah,
and it's probably not going to go away.
No, I think
that's the thing, isn't it?
That's a really important point. I remember my old boss at AB InBev, who was really, really supportive when I told him I was leaving to set this up. I was I've always wanted to run my own business. I think when I was younger, I was probably someone who would say I want to be an entrepreneur. I always want to run my own business. I think before you do it, you assume that means you run your own diary and you're your own boss and you're all this kind of stuff. And yeah, there's an element of that, but actually I report to a bunch of investors and shareholders now. So,
and you're a slave to the business you've created.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
There's this this thing that you love that gives you so much energy. And to be clear, is my life's work is also this thing that gives you so much anxiety and keeps you up at night. But that's part of it. And it's anything, it's if you're training for something, if you're so you've had some pretty impressive rugby players on this pod over the last few weeks, you have to sacrifice. There is pressure, and pressure can actually be a good thing, because I think for Dunks and I would both say it has encouraged us or motivated us to do stuff that 6 years ago we probably wouldn't have thought would be possible.
So on the theme of pressure, a lot of non-alcoholic beer businesses have gone under recently. And I have theories personally. I mean, there might be clear reasons that are available on the internet, but I haven't actually discovered that. But my logic as to why a few specific have gone under, with sort of an understanding of the market, the family's always been in the alcohol trade, is one thing. But more importantly, watching competitors essentially fall.
Yeah.
Is your immediate reaction a sense of opportunity or a sense of dread?
I think my immediate reaction is neither of those things, if I'm honest. Your immediate reaction is sad. You are you're sad, and you definitely feel for the people running those businesses. Nobody knows more about running a non-alcoholic beer business than someone running a non-alcoholic beer business. Yeah. So it's funny, when you get in a room at these trade shows, and I thought beforehand when you'd see like competitors, it would be like you're playing sport and you're like, I hate those guys, but you're not, because you're actually like, out of everyone in the world, like he or she knows exactly what I'm going through right now. So when you see one of them like go under, like it is really, really sad. And I do mean that, like I'm big on this category. Like this category, my business can't work if the category doesn't work. Yeah. So I want like good players in this category. I welcome them. So selfishly, I'm sad, but I also like really feel for people who have gone out. Like I know how hard it is. And I think some people might see a headline. It's like, oh, business goes under, and you're like, oh, that person will be fine and they'll find a new job. Like that will be really sore. And if it was to happen to us, it would be really sore. So my first thing is sad. When you say like, is it dread or opportunity? Like, I don't think when the businesses go under, it doesn't prove that it's any harder, because we knew this would be hard. And a journalist actually called Dunks when one of our competitors went under and said it was kind of similar question, like, oh, they've said it's really hard, that's why they've gone under. And Dunks' reaction was like, I didn't start this because I knew it'd be easy.
Yeah.
Like we knew this was going to be hard. Like if you think about what we're doing, we're taking on the biggest branding machines in the world, right?